Hi, everyone, and welcome to Women Entrepreneurs Radio. And I am your host, Deborah Bailey. I'm really glad that you could join me today. And if you are listening to this on Podomatic or on iTunes, then please stop by blogtalkradio.com/CoachDeb, and you'll find an archive of shows going back over 7 years. So a lot of entrepreneurs have stopped by and shared their expertise and talked about their journey. So please make sure that you listen in. And also, of course, on Podomatic and iTunes, you can subscribe. You can download the shows, share them with your friends, share them on social media. So make sure that, people know about it, especially if you've enjoyed the different guests, and also follow up with them in their books and services and products. Make sure you do that as well. Also, if you want to come to the blog, Women Entrepreneur Secrets.blogspot.com, we'll have bios of the show guests as well, and also different links, and also there's articles of interest to women entrepreneurs. So please make sure you stop by there, check out what's going on. Also, if you write blog posts or, have anything like that to share, announcements or book launches, also anything like that, love to post those types of things on the blog. So there's a contact form there. And, you could drop me a line and let me know what's going on and what it is that you'd like to share. And you'll, get a follow-up email, and we'll see if we can post your information on the blog. Also, my site is deboraabailey.com, and you can find out more about me and more about books and blogs that I'm doing. And, of course, there are links there for more information about the show as well. So there's different ways that you can get to find out more. So I hope that you'll do that. And so now we're going to get started with my guest today, Michelle Mayur. And the topic is going to be taking a leap of faith and finding you can fly. So Michelle firmly believes that no matter what challenges and misfortunes or trauma life throws at you, there is always a chance to turn it around, to grow from the experience, and to triumph against all odds. Her new inspirational anthology, Embraced by the Divine, The Emerging Women's Gateway to Power, Passion, and Purpose, exemplifies this. Michelle will help to inspire and empower women to step outside their comfort zone and move through limiting beliefs and excuses that follow that deep inner soul calling to embrace their life purpose wholeheartedly. So welcome, Michelle. I'm really glad to have you here.
Thank you, Deb. It's an honor to be on your show.
I really love, what I was reading in the book, and it's just so really empowering and something that I think we can identify with your journey and finding your way and finding, your purpose and connecting with your power. Could you share some of your background about how your journey brought you to where you are right now?
Well, if someone had said to me as a child that I would be doing what I'm doing now, it would have been so far off my radar, I wouldn't have even believed it was possible. I was so incredibly shy, painfully shy. I'd hide in the background. I didn't want to say boo, and I think part of that was my extreme level of sensitivity anyway, which in the long run has been a blessing, but also it was a coping strategy to stay out of the way with my parents and, getting caught in the crossfire of their arguing and everything all the time. So I developed this way of existing through life of always being in the background. So that was fun. That actually worked quite well through my childhood, but as an adult, of course, that doesn't work. And it wasn't until I had the opportunity to go to a little tiny tropical island right on the equator called Nauru in the Central Pacific, and I lived there for 2 years. I was working there, and so was my husband at the time. And I suddenly found that I could channel this incredible poetry. It would just come through me spontaneously when I was in a quiet, still place on the island. And it would come through me, and it was so profound. It's like
Mm-hmm.
I would read what I'd written at the end and think, where on earth this is coming from? I can't write like that. But obviously with higher guidance, I was tapping into something more. So when I eventually came back to Melbourne to resettle, I wanted to find out more about what was actually happening. So I went on a bit of a journey and discovered I had a lot of healing skills in channeling energy. It just seemed completely natural to me. So I started my own business in 1995, and as they say, the rest is history. And I was called to I suppose I've been called to take many leaps of faith along the way. One of them was in 2009, where I was really exhausted with what I was doing. I was, burning out and not enjoying what I was doing anymore. And I finished up slipping, breaking my shoulder badly. And that caused me to have to reevaluate absolutely where I was at. And I decided to take my business onto the global stage, which obviously I've done ever since. And that was a massive leap of faith for me. Here's this painfully shy woman and who wouldn't say boo, didn't want to rock the boat, was, the people pleaser extraordinaire. And now, she's been called to talk in front of thousands of people at a time online, and oh my God, what did I let myself in for? So anyway, I've managed to get through many, many levels of fear. It has been the fear each time. Fear comes up in you guys, even, procrastination and things like that. And keep just taking one step at a time, baby steps, baby steps. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Just keep moving forward bit by bit, stretching myself out of my comfort zone on a daily basis, which has over time allowed me to do things that I would never have imagined possible. And then, of course, I received this very strong angelic guidance to write this book called Embraced by the Divine. And that was a massive leap of faith once again, because it's like, I'm a healer. I'm not an author or a marketer or anything like that. I'm a healer. I'm comfortably in that. Don't push me out of that. But anyway, I have relied on an incredible network of supportive friends and colleagues. I've worked very closely with the angelic realms and asking for higher guidance on pretty much a daily basis to just keep moving forward with the project. And now the book's been released on both Kindle and paperback. Came out a couple of weeks ago, and we've hit Amazon. On Amazon, we've hit Kindle #1 bestseller in both Canada and Australia in self-help spiritual. We've Kindle #1 bestseller in Australia in self-help motivational. And with the soft cover that came out last week, we also hit #1 bestseller in the UK on spirituality women. It's like, oh my God, is this really happening? This is so surreal. So yeah, I've moved heaps and heaps from where I started, that's for sure.
Wow, that's really an incredible journey from being afraid, really reluctant to get out in front, and then there you are in front of a lot of people.
Yeah, that's for sure. The other thing too with the book is it's a book that I was guided to write with co-authors, so there's 16 co-authors involved as well. And the initial guidance that came through was that the people that I was to hand select of a particularly high resonance would also need to be women who were prepared to bare their soul, who were, okay with getting raw and authentic and down and dirty kind of things. So this is also a journey that I had to go within and ask, well, how much of myself am I prepared to reveal publicly? People could be in any country around the world. How much of myself can I do this? I came to the conclusion after much soul searching was that if the angelic guidance to create this book was so strong and the guidance about how to create it was so strong, then it was almost like my calling, my duty to be very raw and honest and open and authentic as an inspiration to other women who maybe were going through something similar to me, or the other co-authors who are in the book, that no matter where you start off with, there's always a chance to to turn it around and find the blessing in even the most awful experiences, you know, that you think are awful at the time, but maybe the blessing in disguise. So that's been very powerful about, you know, hiding in the background, not saying boo, not speaking up or expressing an opinion, to actually, you know, hey, this is me and all my rawness in all my warts and all kind of thing. And this, the feedback we're getting about the book is amazing because people are really resonating with it. We're not painting ourselves as having some kind of, you know, charmed life, or with 6 or 7 figure businesses and fabulous relationships and everything's going perfectly, because people don't relate to that, and it's not real, and it's not, you know, it's not my day-to-day life either. So in the authenticity, that's what is really, you know, drawing people to read it, because they resonate with what we're saying.
And that is, you know, really an excellent point that you're making, because I guess, you know, at least here, a lot of people started to talk about authenticity once, you know, people were talking about Brene Brown and a lot of other people who were kind of stepping up and putting that out there. But before that, and still, you know, going on right now, you still very much see a lot of who I call the gurus, who go out there and say, well, you know, I've got this wonderful life and I go here and I go there and I just, everything's together. And if you follow what I say, then you can have this too. You know, there's that impression that they live such charmed lives.
Absolutely.
And, you know,
And
it's really hard, I think, for people to, as you said, to relate to that, because then people feel like giving up because they feel like I can never be that person.
And the other thing too is because, you know, I got caught in the past when I started on, you know, my online journey, and I would, you know, look up to these people that seem to have it all together and have these amazing programs, you know, do this and you can be like me too kind of thing. And then buy the program and you do what they said and nothing much was changing in your life. So that makes you feel like more of a failure than you already started off, you know, feeling like. So just by, you know, people saying, you know, for instance, one of the ladies in the book, in her chapter, she's talking about her cancer, her breast cancer journey. And look, she's still going through that journey. She hasn't, you know, completely resolved it, although she's learned absolutely mountains along the way, and she's turned it into a blessing. But it's not as so, well, just do A, B, C, and D and you'll be fine, just like I was. She's still going through that journey. So people can really relate. You know, we're not talking about being perfect. We're talking about being real, and that's what's the important thing.
Exactly. That's so true. And I think it's good that the conversation is going more in that direction now, because for a long time it wasn't there at all. And, you know, so there are times still when it's not. But, you know, I'm glad more people are putting it out there and willing to just be who they are and not have all the answers and not feel that they must always project success all the time. You know, it's you can see there's a change in what people want and what they want to hear and what they want to read about and how they're going to relate to someone. You could see the shifts are going on. So, you know, as a healer, you know, when I was reading some of your book, it seemed like maybe you felt like you wanted to be in control of how you were going to do things, and you had to get past that and kind of just be open.
Yeah, I guess there was a balance to be had there, because obviously I brought together, you know, 16 co-authors from 4 continents, and many of them were people already in my network as colleagues that I you know, felt that vibrationally they were a really good fit for the book, and they have been. They've all been brilliant. But for me, part of that was needing to step into a role of leader, because they're powerful women, and you know, you can't have it all just happening all over the shop. So I've had to develop skills around leadership, or more skills around leadership than I had before, and you know, finding out what works best with people. You know, how to find out their particular skill set and how they respond best, how to, you know, get the best out of people, and how They really feel that sense of involvement and co-ownership. On the other side of that, though, there's been that part about because the whole book has this angelic inspiration as the initial start-off point. I didn't have a vision of writing a book before that, or, maybe it vaguely crossed my mind. But because the angelic guidance has been so strong, and there have been so many times where I've been way out of my comfort zone, like way out of my comfort zone. I don't know about or I didn't. I know a lot now. Could write a book about it actually, but about the whole publishing journey, about all the editing, all the steps involved in getting a book from the initial conception through to a successful online launch. That was all completely foreign territory to me. So there were so many times where I was called, often on a daily basis, to just be in that stillness, be in that meditative space and say, angels, please help me. Show me step by step what I'm to do here. I surrender. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do this. I know you want me to do this. Show me step by step what I'm supposed to do. Make the steps very simple. Make them very clear. And if I haven't understood the step completely, repeat it to me 3 times minimum within the same day, so that I see the repeating pattern, I get the repeating message. And that has been really what has got me through. It's just been not necessarily seeing the whole end picture, because it's still an ongoing journey with the, continue to promote the book, but just doing those bite-sized pieces, one step at a time, each day. Something would help me to move forward a little bit with the project. It wasn't necessarily all an even uphill climb, success or anything. There were definitely, peaks and troughs, but generally the focus was on keeping that forward momentum happening. And I could not have done that if I'd been in that space of, control, as you mentioned before, of, the pushing, the forcing, the shoving, the trying to figure it all out. Did quite a bit of that along the way too, I might add, but when I just really thought, no, it's all about the higher guidance coming through. There is a higher divine plan for all of this. Just get out of your way and follow the divine plan, and everything works out so much better. And I think the classic example of that was when the Kindle version was available for pre-order. We put it up for pre-order like a couple of weeks before the launch date, and that time was supposed to be, just testing the system through Amazon, making sure there were no bugs in the system, making sure everything was functioning properly. And so I just, mentioned to my co-authors that I just put the book up on Amazon, so, it was available for pre-order, but we didn't really need to do anything at this stage, just do the background testing. And some of the co-authors asked me, they said, can we just tell a few of our friends? I said, oh, yeah, sure, no drama. Anyway, because of the time zone difference, I went to bed that night, and all my colleagues in the US, the UK and Canada, or not all of them, but enough of them were putting posts on Facebook and things and posting in a few groups just with a quiet announcement that Embraced by the Divine was now available for pre-order. The next morning I woke up and overnight, while I slept, mind you, a #1 best-selling author on Amazon. And it was so surreal because we had this big marketing plan that we were going to trigger, the following week, that it was all organised, and we had, about 50 launch partners for the Kindle launch. That was all organised. That was all ready to go. But not then. All of that just happened with no plan whatsoever. It just happened, and it's like, okay. So it just became, so, well, not really a joke as such, but it was just showing me, I think it was like, the angels just stepping in and saying, okay, we've got this one covered, girl. You just, sit back, relax. It's all been taken care of. And then when we did the actual Kindle launch, of course, we got #1 bestseller in some other categories as well. But it's like, okay, well, do we even need this Kindle launch now? Before we got #1 bestseller status, what do we do to top this? And it was incredibly surreal, but that's where it's that following the divine guidance, and you get the rewards, that's for sure.
Do you feel that a lot of people you deal with are really afraid to surrender?
Oh,
the way you
absolutely.
did?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because there's, especially, with people who are entrepreneurs, who are, self-employed, a lot of it is people, myself included, we like being in control. We like having that vision. That's perhaps one of the reasons why we chose to move away from the corporate sector. So,
Mhm.
and, we're used to being strong and independent women. So to get to that place of absolute surrender, absolute trust and faith that there is a higher plan guiding all of this, and all we need to do is step back and allow the higher guidance to guide us. That's a really big thing. And for me, it always used to be that I'd have to get to that place of absolute despair, desperation. Something had, some
Mhm.
disaster had happened. So I'd go into that, sobbing kind of space. I surrender. I give up. I don't know what to do. Help me. I don't need to get to that place anymore, because I recognize where I'm going into the pushing, the forcing, the struggling mode to try and get things done. That, have to keep my hands on it, control every single detail, micromanage the divine, as I call it. And
Mhm.
when I go into that space, and I often get little nudges if I'm in that space as well, if I'm heading down that track, it's okay, back off, you're spinning your wheels here. Let's just go back into that stillness, into that space, and ask to be shown clearly, step by step, what it is exactly that you're supposed to do here to start moving forward again. So I don't
Mhm.
have to get to those places of absolute desperation. There's no need to, and there's no need for anybody else to. Just when you feel that things are not flowing, that you're struggling, you're pushing, you're forcing, you're spinning your wheels, and
Mhm.
you're going backwards, ask for higher guidance.
Mm. Wow. So I've noticed that you had, something in the book where people could ask for help and ask, for that guidance. Um, when you started to ask for it, did you just kind of, come across different ways that you could ask for help, or, that you have meditations in place, or did you kind of put them together as you went along, as you were discovering your path?
Yeah, look, for me, I've had a very strong connection to the angelic realms for probably about 20 years now, to varying
Mm-hmm.
degrees. In fact, my business name is called Angel Wings Healing, so there's no coincidence with that. Over the years, I've obviously managed to deepen and enrich my connection with the angelic realms, the higher guides, and so on, and even deceased loved ones on the other side. So it was more of a gradual process, and perhaps the techniques that I developed are things usually which I just suddenly found myself doing in times of crisis, or I'd be working with a client and I channel a lot of the words that I say when I'm working with clients, and I would suddenly find myself either with a visual of some little process to take them through, or the words would flow through me. So these techniques that I have in, my own chapter in the book are all completely original ones, things that just came through me that I just started doing. And that's one of the things too I love, that it's not all the old stuff rehashed by any of the co-authors. It's all our original healing tools, processes, meditations and so on to move us through. So for me, one of the things that I started doing years ago, and this was completely spontaneous, and I just like to share it because it's very, very powerful. And it doesn't matter what God you believe in, if you don't believe in a God, whatever, just you substitute whatever word feels right to you as the highest energy source. And for me, my daily prayer is, God, how best may I serve? Please show me a divinely aligned action step to take today. Please make it clear and simple, and so in my face I can't miss it. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
That's perfect.
Yeah. And be abundantly paid for doing so. I've added to it over the years. At first I left out the and be abundantly paid for doing so bit, so that was a little bit I had to add in. because we need to be paid for what we're doing as well if we're being called to service. And then also the Please Show Me a Divinely Aligned Action Step. I added the bit about making it really clear, really simple, and really in my face so I can't possibly miss it.
And yeah, that's perfect, because there are times when people are like, well, I'm not sure what what is it my thoughts, is it divine thoughts, should I be doing this, should I take this turn, should I take that path? And there seems to be so much confusion at times where people just aren't sure that they can even trust what they feel.
Absolutely. Well, one of the things to look out for is, well, first of all, never ask for the higher guidance if you're in a place of busyness and rush, because your ego mind will just throw something in so you can move on to the next thing. So you need to be in the stillness. You need to be in a quiet space, preferably developing a daily meditation discipline, even if only for a few hours. And you'll start to see shifts happening there. That can take time to build up, though. One of the ways which you can tell if the guidance you're receiving is from the ego mind or is higher guidance is look for symbols and signs in your environment that are repeating on the day. For me, I get a lot with repeating number sequences. That seems to be, it can almost be like a running conversation some days, to the point where I'm almost laughing. Or you can get the same message repeated in a number of different ways on the same day. You might suddenly, for instance, find yourself, singing the words to a song or humming a song that's just appeared in your mind. And then you start to take notice of what the words actually are. And there's likely to be a message in that you needed to hear. And then that message can also come in different forms, in different ways. Maybe something you see on TV, or maybe on a billboard or something. So you get the repeating messages. So when you get things that repeat several times on the same day, it can even be more than that, and it can be in different forms as well, then trust that as being higher guidance.
That's a great idea. There's so many things that we end up missing, I think. As you said, sometimes with the ego, you may already think you know what you want, or you're afraid to surrender to the answer. So there may be a lot of things that come to us that we just ignore, or we're not receptive to them for one reason or another, or we're too busy rushing around so we don't even see what's coming to us.
The other thing too with the ego mind will do everything in its power to keep us safe in our comfort zone. So whenever there's anything that starts to push our fear barriers, the ego mind will kick in and come up with 101 different excuses why we couldn't and shouldn't change, why, things are perfect as they are, even if we're in a very uncomfortable comfort zone at the time. So the ego mind's not a bad thing, but definitely doesn't serve us in moving forward many times where we are being called to step it up, to move ourselves and our work onto a much higher level, to break through that barrier to the next level. And the ego mind feels really threatened and uncomfortable. So, learning to listen to the voice of the higher realms versus the voice of the ego mind is a very important skill to learn. And, that's part of what I teach people as well. I do all sorts of different things, as well as the book in mind, like healing and hypnotherapy and angel guided work and so on.
So can you share with us where people can find you online and where they can find your book?
Okay, so to find me online, my website, well, actually I'll give you the Embraced by the Divine website, because it's got the links to the other websites as well. So the website for the book, it's called www.embracedbythedivine.com. So that's Embraced by the Divine. That's all one word. I'm obviously also on Facebook and Twitter and all these ones as well. You can order the book directly on the Embraced by the Divine website, or if you wanted to order it from Amazon, you can go direct to Amazon and just type in Embraced by the Divine. My website is for private clients is angelwingshealing.com. And I also have the website healthehealer.com as well. So there are all sorts of ways that people can connect with me, and I'm always delighted to connect with new people, especially women who are ready to make a bigger difference in the world, who are ready to smash through limiting beliefs and energetic blockages to really just move into more of who they know that they are, more of their life purpose, more of their vision for what they can bring to the world.
Mm-hmm. And it's certainly a good time for that. I think it's a perfect time for that, for more of that, more of the shifts that are happening. Definitely time for people to embrace all of these ideas and really connect with what is driving them, their passion, and really get it out there. So we're at the end of the program. It has gone by so fast.
It has. It feels like 10 minutes.
I know. I know. That's the thing when you're speaking with guests who really love what they do. It just goes by so quickly, and I just wish you could just continue the conversation on and on. But now we're at the end. Do you have any final thoughts to share on your book and on this topic?
Okay, the core message of the book, and of course there's lots of different chapters, lots of different issues, lots of different women from around the world. The core message in the book is that no matter what challenge, misfortune or trauma life throws at you, there's always the chance to turn it around and to grow from the experience and to triumph against all odds. And we have put together this book with the intention of inspiring women who are ready for it, that because we're really raw and authentic, that if we can do it, then people reading the book can too.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And that's a beautiful message that lets people know that that's something that is not beyond them, or not just a certain group of people can do this. It's open to everyone as well. And those listening, you can certainly take advantage of this information and apply it to your life. So that, I believe, is a very beautiful thing to realize, especially as I said before, it seemed that a lot of times people were projecting that you had to be a certain other person to really have success and happiness and all those things, but people can really embrace that just as they are. I think that's a fantastic message to share with everyone, and I'm really very glad you wrote the book and that you were able to spend some time here today sharing your message. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So everyone, I'm sure that you enjoyed this, and you will go and check out Michelle's book and her website, and share it with your friends and others that you know would benefit from this. Certainly do that and let them know about it. Let them listen to the show, download it, embed it. There are many things that you can do, which is fantastic, that you can continue to share this message. So please do so. And once again, it's been Women Entrepreneurs Radio with your host, Deborah Bailey. Thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye now.